Good afternoon. My name is Nina Happe. I'm working here in Berlin in the Heinrich-Böll Foundation in the Eastern and Southeast Europe team. And we will now come to our project presentations about how historical knowledge can be communicated. We took this idea from last year's forum because it was really adding value to our forum to see how it can be solved in practice and discuss a bit about it. We have this empty chair like in the fishbowl discussions, and I encourage everybody to ask questions. We start with Peggy Lohse and the first project, The War and Its Victims. Peggy Lohse, sitting opposite me, is a journalist, writer, translator, and editor. She reports about East Central Europe with a strong focus on Ukraine. She's also traveling to Ukraine and has done a lot of reporting work on Ukraine and on the current war as well. And she's the co-author of the project that she will present, will be presenting now on the platform Dekoder. Peggy, please, maybe you want to say some words to Dekoder and then to the project.
Hello, is it? Yes. Hello. Thanks for having me and having our project. Actually, I'm not the co-author, but the co-editor of this project. That's a difference. No offense. You could not know that. Dekoder is a platform where we translate from Ukrainian, Belarusian, Russian-speaking independent media into German and combine these media texts or journalistic texts with expertise analysis from academics like all over Europe. And of course, our main focus is to decipher, to understand the structure and the consequences of the Russian regime of violence in general. So that's why these three media landscapes. And we are doing special projects, and The War and Its Victims is one of them. It's a historical project. And it's telling 10 stories about the German war of extermination against Soviet Union from 1941 to 1945. And I hope it's working. Yes, it's working. Oh, great. Here you can see a few examples. Our site is in German, Ukrainian, and Russian. So I hope everyone can find a language for themselves. Here in our project, we meet 10 different, well, a few more actually, 10 stories, but different protagonists, different people who survived sometimes this German war against Soviet Union. We meet, for example, a Jewish businessman in Western Ukraine who has to hide from German mass executions. We meet a Belarusian boy in a pioneer camp in June 41, not far away from Minsk, and he will meet his parents again actually in September 45. We will meet a lot of different people. A girl from Leningrad during the siege of Leningrad, a Red Army officer, a Roma family in Smolensk region. We will meet a woman in Western Ukraine affected by sexual violence. So there are really a lot of different stories, 10 of them, to tell the story of this war. Our motivation back then, so this project started last year. In 2021, at the university in Heidelberg, there was a research project called Civilian Victims on the Eastern Front of World War II. And it was in 2021, so there could be still 10 researchers from different countries, and also from Ukraine and Russia and from Germany. And actually, the most of these researchers became our authors. That's why I was correcting you. because our stories were written by like experts, academic experts, and we as journalists, as scientific journalists for my colleague, we edited the texts to make them more readable for a wider audience. Let's say it like that. Yeah, why did we do that? We realized or recognized, especially in the German discourse, painfully big lack of knowledge about the realities of the Second World War on the territories of Soviet Union. And of course, this lack of knowledge in our Western societies became or has got misused by pro-Russian and Russian propaganda, especially during the Russian-Ukrainian war. And I really think that we have been enormously ignorant towards the perspectives of people from Ukraine, Poland, Belarus, the Baltic states, and like until 2014 or 22, like like a mainstream German reaction on this perspective, like we had to survive 2 dictatorships, was like, no, you cannot relativize the Holocaust. You cannot relativize everything, and that was it. That's the point, and that's why I'm saying I thought that we were ignorant. Yeah, we thought that. We found the research project, and then we got luckily funding by the Foundation FVZ, and we could do our project. It's a multimedia scrolling documentary, 10 stories. And within these stories, different media represent different levels of the storytelling. Because we thought, okay, somehow we need a new kind of aesthetics of remembrance, aesthetics of memory to make it possible for a wider audience to think about or to become more emphatic with the people really affected by the war. And not only soldiers, not only like what's the front, where's the front going, where's the front not going, but really the people, how was it to be, to live during that war. And yeah, so we have different levels. We have original quotes from protagonists, and we draw them, and we have animations of them. That's like the individual level. Then we have, of course, the text story. We may try to write it clearly and easily to read. And that's like the in-between level. It's like the community level. And then we got maps, animated maps. And here you can see them. There's a lot of work in that because these data had to be collected and sorted. And so there are maps of concentration camps, like where was what. There are maps of, for example, Leningrad, and the German shelling during the siege. There are maps of the routes of fleeing or deportation. For example, deportation to forced labor to Germany. There are maps of concentration camps, ghettos. So everything we see in the individual story, we can then like somehow relocate on a global level. Yeah, and we of course, we describe there what's going on and really where the front is heading and who is doing what in which area. Yeah, so we really were focusing also on contradictions because, of course, I think Pisletici perhaps will talk more about it, also about like problems with oral history and with the sources, and we at least try to make that clear. So we said, this person told right after the war this, and 20 years later another story, or a little bit like other facts, and yeah. So we worked with that contradictions, with the complexity of, yeah, like victims. Maybe we will have to talk about terminology also. And yes, that's what we did. The 3 sites, each with an Instagram channel. The most active is the German one. And as an extra bonus, whatever, because our colleagues collected such an amount of data, we did this general map of Nazi atrocities. It's not complete, never ever, but there's a lot of data we found or we could reach somehow, and I call it the map of horrors. And yeah, I think you have already a kind of picture of it, and our stories and this map could be one answer to people who are arguing with a historical responsibility in Germany when it's going in discussions about military support for Ukraine, for example. That's what we thought about it. Yeah, so short from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peggy. It's very nice that you really stuck to the time frame that I suggested. I suggest that we present all the 4 projects and then take our time to ask questions, so to give everybody the chance to really present it. The next project is on the Copernico portal, or I don't know how to call it, on the website, Copernico, and it's presented by Anne Kluger. Anne Kluger is a postdoctoral history researcher with one of her main areas is entangled histories of East Central Europe. She also works as a freelance author and is developing new formats. She calls it cross-media formats. I think in her CV there's mention of contribution to a TV series, so to the sphere of entertainment, maybe. So, and also podcast and such formats. And she's the co-editor of the blog History Goes Public, which sounds quite dynamic. And I mean, the aim is to spread historical knowledge to non-experts, if I get it right. And for several years, Anna has been part of the editorial team of Copernico. And yeah, there's a brand new project on this site.
Thank you very much for the introduction and for the invitation. As Nina has already said, I will present to you today the new thematic focus section, 1945, End of the War, Liberation, Occupation, which was published on May 8th on Copernico, which is an online portal on the history and cultural heritage of Eastern Europe. I will first provide a very brief overview of Copernico, its origins, purpose, and development, and then turn to this new thematic focus section on the end of the war in Eastern Europe. Copernico has been online since 2021. It was officially launched in November of that year. And the idea of the portal originated at the Herder Institute for Historical Research on East Central Europe. To realize the idea, the Institute applied for funding from the federal government Commissioner for Culture and the Media, which was gained from 2017 to 2019 to develop the concept, and then from 2019 on for the actual implementation of the portal. And this backstory explains why Copernico is operated today at the Herder Institute. There we have a small editorial team at this institute, which is responsible for the portal. They upload and format content, coordinate the contributors, and organize the editorial meetings. In addition to this, there is an editorial board that discusses and decides on new topics and new distribution strategies. And the board is made up of 15 people, as you can see here, from academia, cultural institutions such as museums and foundations, including the Böll Foundation, with expertise. So all of these people are not only academics, but they also have a certain expertise in journalism, public history, and in science communication. Copernico has also established a network of 33 partner institutions, museums, archives, cultural offices, and organizations, all of which work in the field of Eastern European history and heritage. And these institutions are featured in the portal, as you will see later. They meet up twice a year, and they are invited to contribute content for publication on the portal. So the overarching aim of Copernico is to build a bridge between academic research and a wider public to make scientific research more accessible and more visible. So that if you need, if you wonder what happened in Eastern Europe in 1954, for example, you can read scientifically sound, well-researched articles by experts in the field, but brought to you in ideally in a way that is both informative and engaging. The portal focuses on the history and cultural heritage of Eastern Europe, as I already said. But Copernico understands this term in a very broad sense, including Central, Northeastern, Southeastern, and Eastern Europe. The target audience of Copernico is quite diverse. Copernico mainly aims, like officially, to attract younger people between the age of 25 and 35, but we also address the traditional audience of our partner institutions, museums, so a group that tends to be 50 and older, and of course this leads to certain challenges in terms of tone and content, but so far the mix has worked out quite well, and Copernico attracts more than 50,000 visitors per month. So what does Copernico actually offer then? The portal currently features 11 thematic focus sections containing more than 250 articles in total, about 15 per section. And we publish 2 thematic focus sections each year. For example, I've chosen to show you 2 of them. We have one section that is dedicated to childhood and youth in Eastern Europe, and another one, for example, this one, Eastern Europe through a post-colonial lens. Each section includes a variety of content, explanatory background articles, biographical portraits, articles that unfold the story of one historical or contemporary object, expert interviews, web documentaries, and even animated short films. The thematic focus sections are curated and overseen by smaller groups from the editorial board, normally 2, 3, up to 4. In addition to the thematic focus section, there is a blog where you can find posts more or less regularly on current debates and topics related to our focus region. And another key component of the portal is the research section. There you will find information on all partner institutions, their collections, their digitalized materials, exhibitions, and other online resources dealing with the history and culture of Eastern Europe. And this section, as you can see, also includes a filter function to help you narrow down your search. All content on Copernico is available in German and in English. The thematic focus section that I would now like to present in more detail is our latest one, as I already said. 1945, end of the war, liberation, occupation. I also already mentioned that it was published on May 8th, and it was edited by my 2 colleagues, Gregor Thum, Associate Professor for Central and Eastern European History at the University of Pittsburgh, and Joachim Tauber, longtime director of the Nordost-Institut in Lüneburg and professor at the University of Hamburg, as well as myself. And I just realized I'm wearing the same shirt as in the picture. Wow, okay. Okay, so our team, that's real dedication. So our team brought together different generations, academic perspectives, also regional focuses, and thematic interests. Our section begins with an introductory text written by us as editors, and is followed then by 14 articles structured into 4 sections. The sections are Uprooting and Hope, Jewish Life, Violence and a New Beginning, Material Hardship, and Property. And the section then concludes with an article on the memory or about the memory of the end of war in the Baltic states. Throughout the sections, you will find a wide range of different topics. For example, we have an article on the situations of displaced persons from Eastern Europe in Western Germany and Austria in 1945, as well as specifically on Soviet prisoners of war in Germany. A case study on the town of Rez, today Rec, east of the Oder River, where evacuation, deportation, and expulsion overlapped in 1945. We have a piece exploring the uncertain future and visions for the future of Czechoslovakia in the first years after the war. We have an article about an American Jewish journalist and his journey through the Soviet Union about the war, which turned out quite differently from what he had expected. We have an article addressing the experiences of sexual violence suffered by women in Slovakia during the liberation by the Red Army, and many more. And these articles came together after we published a call for papers about a year ago, and received a quite good number of returns, and the call was open to everybody. So contributors didn't have to be part of the academic world, but we did ask that all contributions reflect the latest state of research. So as a result, most of the authors are academics, but we are also there are also freelance researchers, journalists, and other experts. We don't want Copernico to speak only about Eastern Europe, but also with Eastern Europe, or better to let Eastern Europe speak for itself. So this is why we aim to include voices from the regions we focus on, but there's still like room for improvement, I would say. In addition to the open call, we also invited researchers we knew were working on topics that were relevant for this section, and this is the usual procedure for thematic sections on Copernico. So a call and then special invitations. In curating this section, we aim for geographical balance. First of all, a diverse representation of different groups of actors, soldiers, women, prisoners, etc. A mix of article types, from political background analysis to very close examinations of individual people or objects. And most importantly, we wanted the articles to reflect the ambivalence of 1945 in Eastern Europe between relief and fear, peace and violence, liberation and occupation. And the editorial process included detailed feedback rounds with the authors, and Copernico also hired an external professional editor who helped with formatting, translation, and polishing the final text. And a key part of this editorial process was making the text understandable for non-academic readers. So I really much relate to what you just said, Peggy. And that involved simplifying the language, but also adding small info boxes to explain, for example, historiographical terms, as you can see here. We also included biographical notes on people that were mentioned in the texts. And we connected the articles with the geographical glossary of Copernico, which shows every location that is mentioned in the texts. The articles also very much contain photographs and sometimes embedded videos, as you can see here, allowing the authors to convey their message, so to say, using a range of different media formats and making the articles more appealing for different people with different preferences. Once a thematic section is published, it is promoted via Copernicus and the Herder Institute social media channels, as well as through the newsletters of the partner institutions. Copernico also uses search engine optimization. Don't ask me about that, I'm not an expert, but it helps to increase the visibility of the texts, and of course the editors and authors share the content through their own professional networks, which brings me to my few last sentences, because as a more personal form of outreach, I of course invite all of you to explore Copernico, browse through the articles, discover the media content, and of course also contribute, if you like, to future calls. So thank you very much for your attention, and yeah.
Thank you very much. I have one very small question back, because I was reading a couple of texts, but maybe not all. And as far as I remember, there was no contribution from Southeast Europe in this collection. Is that right?
Yeah, partly yes. I think this is really a lack of the Copernico editorial board and also of the other thematic sections that Southeastern Europe isn't featured as much as the other regions. But I think there are 2 articles which at least cover but of course, like through the lens of the history or of the historical topic of the Soviet Union, then cover like the different parts of the Soviet Union. But you're absolutely right. Yeah, and this is also why I'm very happy to present the the platform today, because we still need like knowledge and contributions from Southeastern Europe very much.
And then it's a question of the reactions on your calls as well,
it is.
probably.
It is. Yeah, it is, of course. But I mean, the reactions are, of course, a mirror, so to say, of the networks that Copernico has built up and where the call is featured and published and so on. So, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, then we come to our third presentation. Light of the Fireflies. It will be presented by a tandem of filmmakers, Nikola Polic and Branka Pavlovic. Yes, they are both filmmakers and video artists. Nikola lives in Belgrade and works as a freelance film director, editor, and video artist. He has won a couple of awards for his films dedicated to minority groups. You can read all that in detail on the CV collection. And he's still completing his PhD studies, whereas Branka Pavlovic is not a student, but on the contrary, a film and video educator and teacher. She teaches at the Freie Universität Berlin and is living in Berlin. She's the co-director of the Free Zone Human Rights Film Festival in Belgrade. And in the framework of this festival and other Serbian and also German institutions, the project was developed. And she is, I hope it's right, the author of the project on memory and dialogue, Light of the Fireflies, dedicated to the work with young people, memory work with young people. The floor is yours.
Yes, hi. Thank you very much for the...
I forgot something. Oh. It was extremely... It was, we met in Zoom before, and it was very important for Nikola that I mentioned that you have been working together for 15 years already, which is quite incredible if I look at Nikola.
Yeah, thank you so much for the invitation. We are representing here the Free Zone Human Rights Film Festival from Belgrade, and this project, Light of the Fireflies, is a continuation of our work as a film festival. We also have workshops with young people, and for example, Nikola was one of the participants as a high schooler of those projects. Those were documentary film projects that deal with the human rights. And since I have been living longer here in Berlin, and I studied art in context at the UDK, I did a lot of this work, participatory projects with young people in Belgrade in Serbia, but also here in Berlin as well. And this Light of the Fireflies project started actually in 2021. So on the location of Staro Sajmište, Judenlager Zemlin, Anhalter Lager Zemlin, and this was the location which was in the middle of the city, but somehow totally deserted and not taken care of as a memorial, or the memorialization was very delayed or neglected. So we wanted to turn the attention of a Serbian and Belgrade people, but also schools and educators to this location, and also, of course, the politics and the people who are in charge of dealing with the politics of memory, that maybe they could do something about it. And this is what has been done. As you see, the central tower has been renovated, but the government has, and someone, I think the colleague from Rijeka already mentioned it, the our current government, maybe you are, you know what's happening in Serbia right now. They're hijacking parts of this narrative, and also they're like manipulated the narrative of the victims and who were actually the victims of this place. So it has been renovated the way it was before in 1937 when it was built, but all the rest of it, maybe you see on the picture on the right, has been devastated, because, and also this bridge, maybe this is a nice thing to say, it's the so-called German bridge. It was built in 1942 by the German occupying forces, but it has been preserved until this day because in 1944 a teacher and a citizen of Belgrade saved it. And it lived through like 82 years, but now the government is demolishing it. There were like as a part of these protests that are happening right now, there have been also initiative to keep it. But yeah, this is also the kind of how are we dealing with the past, and also the many layers of the past. And also in this process, they also devastated a part of the camp. So all this thing which you see in the background on the right side, it's actually a part of the camp. Maybe in the background you see even this tower that we see on the right. So they, it's not that it hasn't been preserved. It's a very valuable construction ground. So there is a great fear that this would be used for private buildings, and that the memorial will be partially violated. But our Bürgermeister, so he said, we will demolish this German bridge and we'll build a new Serbian one. So I leave it at that, just about the past and dealing with the past, and also the future, and maybe the current moment in Serbia. But the Light of the Fireflies, these are the people who took part in the project which we did last year in 2024, because there is another connected location. It's the Camp Topovske Šupe in Belgrade, which was also connected with this Sajmište camp. So we wanted to shed a light, that's why the title, Light of the Fireflies, to the history of this location. I just have to say that the project was funded, both projects were funded by Foundation FVZ, and we are very grateful for that. We didn't get any funding from the Serbian government or any other organizations from Serbia. And what we actually did, we wanted to focus on the destiny of Roma and Sinti people. So in the Topovske Šupe, most of the prisoners, inmates, were Jewish, but also Roma, and there were also only Jewish and Roma men. So it was a kind of a, if I may use this word, like a prequel for Sajmište, like they used the existing buildings to capture the people that will be shot as hostages for Wehrmacht and German Nazi occupation politics. 100 people were shot for one Wehrmacht soldier. So that was that's what happened. So the place in Belgrade, Topovske Šupe, was just active for just 4 months, whereas a location that had that we wanted to connect with this story, Zwangslager Marzahn in Berlin-Marzahn, was active for from 1936 to 1944, so much longer, and still there were things that we wanted to deal with and to connect. And when I say when I say we, I think we have, yeah. When I say we, I mean we worked with young people. So Nicola and me were a part of this team, but the content creators were young people, high schoolers from Berlin and Belgrade, and they were working on these two separate locations. And maybe just to get an impression what they did.
Pisma, streljivo, hrana, šupe, zid, logoraši.
Zatočeništvo, pisma, ograde, zaborav, beznađe, tragedije.
Pisma,
zatočeništvo,
glad, rad, bekstvo.
Dehumanizacija.
Pisma, glad,
individua,
rad, bekstvo.
Adaptatia.
Wir wurden nach Berlin-Marzahn verfrachtet. Eigentlich hieß der Ort Marzahn Rastplatz. Rastplatz. Das war 1936, vor den Olympiaden. Ich war gerade erst 9 Jahre alt geworden.
Logoraši, pismo, život.
Und nun waren wir dort. Meine Oma, mein Bruder Max, meine Schwester Therese, meine 14 bis 15 Jahre alte Tante Kamba und ich.
Uvek moramo da se vratimo korak unazad da bi shvatili šta dalje.
Sima Živković, 24, Kočijaš. Peke Pavlović je 73. Marinkova bara. Logor Topovske šupe. Dalje se o njima ništa ne zna.
Okay, so maybe you have what they created, working for a week each, were videos, mostly like videos and video works, but also interventions in open space. And Nicola was a part of a leader of a Berlin team, so maybe he also has another perspective because he is another generation. So,
yeah, I need to say that when Branka called me to work on this project, I said yes, of course, because in my school, I never learn about these two topics, Staro Sajmište and Topovske šupe, and I can say that I was a student as these young people, research with them together, and just how to say, my colleague Masha, she was with me on this workshop. We just wanted to see the special view of these young people and what they think and how they react about this topic. And I need to say that they have totally freedom to do what Branka said, video work or installation or some performance, and that I see in that work that they have a really critical statement about how to say locations, about situation there, and how to say they research about private story about victims and this small material which we have like archive. And they how to say, for the first time feel emotions with us and connect with the story in a good way. And I think that this material at the end is some kind of pretext for discussion. And whole material is in our app, actually, which you can use in actually right now 3 locations because of Rasplat Marzahn. Going through the app, actually, we organize that people doing the route are always active and give some questions and feelings which will, how to say, be some.
It's interactive,
yeah.
So that we can also in the back end. I will just you will be able to take a look at it because we have in a moment a QR code. So later you can take a look at it and try it out for both locations. Yeah, it's very interactive, and we were trying to incorporate this all the material, and these were like audio, video, photos. Some objects collected. The subtitle of the project is Archaeology of Memory, and this is also because the testimonies are very scarce. There are almost no testimonies, and also because the Sinti and Roma are a group that didn't leave many traces in Berlin. Is luckily Otto Rosenberg and Petra Rosenberg. They did a great thing for and it's a different kind of narrative a bit than in Serbia, but it was really important to us that we, or also for the young people, that they offer their thoughts on this, like really active, but also the app is invitation for you, for anyone who is using it, to do it also. Yeah, I'm just doing like. Yes, so also to the subject of memorialization, they collected. You see in which state are these locations? For Topovske Šupe is like they want to build a shopping mall on the location. So it's not just about preservation of memory, but about the preservation of the location. So, because it could end up with this forefront of Staro Sajmište, which you saw at the beginning. It's a really present danger. So, yeah, and also this is how it looks in Berlin. It's also a bit unrecognizable that there was something there, except of the field of not the posters. How do you say stelen? I don't know how you say it yeah, we did also. It's very important about the dates of commemoration. This was the December 10th is the day of human rights in Serbia. So we are Human Rights Film Festival. So we did a presentation at school in Belgrade, but on the January 27th we did it also here in Berlin. In Marzahn. Yeah. So, what else we produced there? There is a reader and the app, which can be downloaded from the website of our partners, but also Free Zone website. I can give it to you later. And this reader is in English, German, and Serbian language accessible for this second part of and of course young people also tested the app, and now we're there. We tested the app on the location, so you can try to test it. This second app, or for these two locations, is available in German and Serbian in this moment, but it will be available in English. And there is also this old one. This is at Staro Sajmište. This is available in Serbian and English. So you can. We are in a test phase, but most of these 186 schools in Serbia tried this, or this is like free to use in Unterricht, so teaching history or civic education. Yeah, so this is if you have any questions, then we are at your disposal.
Yeah, now you have the chance to scan this QR code and test it. Who wants? Yeah, thank you very much. Was that the end of the? Okay, thank you. So. The next project. Sorry. Next project is called After Silence. It will also be presented by two persons, one coming directly from Ukraine and the other also from Ukraine, but living in Germany at the moment. At the moment, it's Daria Resnik. She's an affiliated researcher and PhD student in Leipzig, and writes her dissertation about the oral history of Soviet deportations from the western part of Ukraine in 1944 to 53, as well as the transformation of memorial culture in Ukraine. Daria has also a background in museum work and has realized exhibitions, and she's a board member of the NGO After Silence. Anna Yatsenko is also a board member. She's a founding member and the chair of the board of After Silence, and she is a culture manager. Yeah, and Anna as well has a lot of experience with exhibitions, with other publications, with documentary projects like documentary films, also on the current war, but also on history work. And I think some of them are part of your After Silence project or are introduced into it.
Yeah, thank you, Nina. It is a big pleasure to us to tell about our organization today to this audience. And the public organization After Silence is an independent initiative, and it was founded in 2021. And our main focus is documenting the history of Ukraine in the middle 20th century. And for years, we recorded 150 oral history interviews. And it's interview about history of World War II and the Soviet mass repression, mostly. In fact, we are asking about past war in the context of the current Russian-Ukrainian war. And when we ask our interviewee about the war, she asked us about what war, that one or this one. Also, we work with private archives of our interviewees. We digitize photos, letters, handwritten memories, and other documents. And the Russian-Ukrainian war also has shown new problem. Private archives are very easily lost because they burn in fires when houses are destroyed, and often people are not able to take the archives with them in the process of evacuation. We, based on oral history interviews and digitized private archives, we create different public history projects. And it's a documentaries, it's a podcast, online exhibition. And months ago, we opened our public history space After Silence in the city center of Lviv. And it's a place where we work, where we can scan archives, record interviews, and also it's an exhibition space and space for public events. And we have already organized the exhibition in this place. First exhibition called Halle-Wittenberg, Temporary Displaced Stories. And Halle-Wittenberg is a town located just a few kilometers from the front line in the Zaporizhzhia region. It's a southern part of Ukraine. And town is being destroyed every day, but our colleagues from public organization Halle-Wittenberg Antiquities, they evacuating and preserving private archives from villages, schools, family archives. And the exhibition based on these artifacts with focus on the history of 20th century in this region. The current exhibition is called War Childhood, the Experience of World War II, and it's based on the fragments from the oral history interviews with people who were kids in the time of the war, and the exhibition was created in collaboration with the World Childhood Museum. However, there are some projects that we have been working on for several years. The exhibition project, A Short History of Violence, presents the history of the ethnical region Western Volhynia from the perspectives of people of various ethnical and social backgrounds and political beliefs with different individual experience. And it is a joint project with Rivne Regional Museum and also Rivne Institute of Postgraduate Pedagogical Education. And it was traveling exhibition, and now you can see QR code with website. It's like a result of our exhibition where you can find some exhibition materials, education materials, audio guide, video tours, video lectures. And also site have an option to share a family story related to the events of World War II. The next big project is a summer camps on public history for Ukrainian youth. And it is also a joint project with Gestapo Keller and the Gustav Schacht Memorial Association in Osnabrück. And we explore how to share about family stories from the past and about the current experience of war. And we organized the Ukrainian youth discussion, lectures, workshops, psychological training sessions, tours, documentary screenings. And as a result, the participants create their own projects, which we publish in our website. You can see also QR code to this website. And for example, I can say about some projects. For one participant, she wrote an application about their great-grand aunt I will never meet. And she tried to reconstruct the life of her great-grandmother's sister, who passed away 80 years ago in the time of the war. And second participant, she tried to invite us to the story of 5th generation of her family, from her great-grandfather in German captivity in World War I, and to her father's imprisonment in the Russian Izolyatsiya prison, and also for her life, like a temporarily displaced person from Donetsk. Also, we have been working on another project. It's a series of graphic stories based on oral history interviews with World War II eyewitnesses. The story is about 4 little girls. One was a child forced laborer, one is a Holocaust survivor, one escaped burned villages, and one is the daughter of a family who saved their Jewish neighbors during the Holocaust, but then they was repressed by the Soviet regime. This graphic novel is available online in Ukrainian, German, English, and French. And also we waiting printed edition of these graphic novels. And but the project we have been working on the longest time is an online archive of photos of forced laborers called While Staying in Germany. And we found and bought all of these photos at online auction and the flea markets. And then we try to identify the people in the photographs, where they're from, what they faced after the war, and that's why we collaborate with Ukrainian and German archives and search more information. And our results publish in our website. And currently there are more than 400 photographs, and I suppose we add another 100 photos in the end of this year. And based on some materials, we create exhibition project that we exhibit in Ukraine and in Germany, and my colleague Daria tell more about our projects.
Yes, thank you, Anna. As Anna already said, so the topic of forced labor is one of the main topics for us. And of course, when we started to buy all of those pictures and other materials on the online archives, on the flea markets and so on, of course, we decided that we have to do something with all of those materials because, as you already can see from those pictures, I mean, those are very rich material. And of course, we wanted to present it in some way. And that is why we decided to create 2 exhibitions, which are now actually 4 exhibitions. And for us, it was especially important to present those exhibitions in Germany, in German and in Ukrainian language, because we wanted to, the main goal for us was to present those stories on the places where those people were conducting those forced labor. It was especially important for us, and that is why we had some agreements with the local partners. I will tell a bit later about this. But basically we collaborated with local partners to create those exhibitions, and main materials for both of these exhibitions, there were photos, as I already said, from online markets, from flea markets, as well as documents, as well as letters, which are forced laborers were written to their home cities and villages to Ukraine during their times in Germany. Songs as well, I will tell about this a bit later, but basically the first exhibition was dedicated to Hanna Pastuch. Anna Pastuch was a forced labor in Gelsenkirchen. She was only 16 years old when she started. When she was forcibly taken to the forced labor to Germany, and she was working there. What was before a glass factory in Gelsenkirchen, but then it became a military factory. And she wrote. You can see on this picture. She wrote quite a lot of letters to her mother and her younger sister to Ukraine, and we bought all of those letters on the online auction. And the whole exhibition is basically based on her letters, how she was describing her life in Germany, how it was for her, how she was describing forced labor, and so on and so on. So based on all of those materials, we made this exhibition. This exhibition, as I already said, it was available. It is available in German and in Ukrainian, and we opened this exhibition in Gelsenkirchen last year in Wissenschaft Park there, and Dr. Sabina Kittel helped us a lot with this exhibition. She one of the workers of this Wissenschaft Park. And that is why I'm telling that, this local collaboration is very important for us, because through this we have the opportunity to present our work. So basically, as I already said, we presented the life of Anna there. Her personal story, because she actually had quite a tragic story, which actually was very much typical for all Ukrainian forced laborers. In Germany, she was, as I already said, she was only 16 years old. While her staying in Germany, basically in her letters she was describing that she was very miserable. She felt she felt this very much loneliness because she was taken far away from her home. And when she came back to Ukraine, her life was very much unfortunate because she was very sick. She didn't have any relatives because her mother died, her sister died as well, and she lived basically whole her life alone, without any children, without anything, and she was living all her life under the stigma of being like enemy of the nation in the Soviet Union, because all these people, they were considering as enemies because they were working for an enemy, for the Soviet Union. So in her native village, she was alone basically because nobody wanted to take any deals with her because she was an enemy, and she died basically alone. She was very sick. So her story is very much tragic. So we are incredibly grateful that we had this opportunity to present her story and tell a bit more about her. Actually, we had also an interesting opportunity to present this exhibition on a stadium during the game of the Schalke football team. because when we were when we were opening this exhibition, they found out about our exhibition, and it turns out that they had this memory week of the forced labor in the Schalke team, and they invited us to their game with Hamburg team. And yeah, just before the game, we were invited to this football field to speak about our exhibition, and we presented it on the Schalke Museum, on the stadium as well. Yeah, it was a very interesting experience for us, as you can imagine. Yeah, and again, of course, we are very much grateful for our German partners, because yeah, it was very meaningful experience for us. Another exhibition was dedicated to women who were, because yeah, the previous one was dedicated to Hanna Pastuch, as I already said, but this exhibition was dedicated to women that were working in a Schwarzwald area. We opened this exhibition in Furtwagen in Schwarzwald, and yeah, as you can see, the main actors of this exhibition, there were a lot of Ukrainian women who were working in this area, because basically when we firstly started to work on this topic, I contacted Dr. Johannes Graf, who is working in Furtwagen in this German watch museum. And he told me that actually all the workers there, they were Russians, so there is no connection with Ukraine. And we were like, are you sure about this? Maybe we have to check. And I remember when we came to Furtwagen, we checked the list of the forced labor that he gave us, and almost all of them, they were Ukrainian women, actually. So yeah, of course, it was very important field work. And yeah, we had an opportunity to present our exhibition there. Yeah, I think Furtwagen is actually quite a small city. And I think for the opening, almost the whole city came to this opening. And what was especially important for us, that one local woman, she came to the exhibition, and she bring a photo of her father who was working. She was quite an old lady, and she bring a photo of her father who was working on a factory of this forced labor factory where Ukrainian women were. So her father was directly connected with the forced labor, and she told us that she still remembers some Ukrainian words even now in her old age. She still remembers how to say onion, for example, or bread or something in Ukrainian, just because she remembered all of these Ukrainian women that were working for them. So yeah, and she showed us this photo, and of course, yeah, for us it was just, yeah, as I said, just an incredible opportunity to talk to these people and to present this work exactly on the place of forced labor. And actually, after we showed this exhibition in Furtwagen, they made this online app. So this German watch museum made a free online app where you can find a free tour guide of forced labor sites in Furtwagen. So now, if you ever in Furtwagen, you can just download this app, and you can, yeah, just visit the places of the forced labor there. And yeah, it was completely their initiative. After we did all of this field work with them, they decided to make this app. And yeah, of course, it's also very much important for us to promote, yeah, to promote those stories of Ukrainian forced labor, and to talk about this. So this first exhibition about Hanna Pastuch now is traveling, actually. Right now it was, yeah, it's actually was last days of this exhibition in Bochum, but we also opened this exhibition in Münster, and it's going to be, since November, it's going to be in Warendorf, in this region. And yeah, it's just some pictures from the opening in those places. Yeah, on the left photo with me is Dr. Katerina Kopchenko from Münster, and on the right photo is Sergei Stakhanov, who are very much helping us with those exhibitions. Yeah, and as already said many times, and I will say it a lot of more times, that we are incredibly grateful to all people who are helping us with this, because yeah, as Anna already said, we just yeah, a small initiative. It's only 7 people, to be honest. As you can already see, we have a lot of projects going on. So for us, it's very much important to have this opportunity to present it here, and yeah, to receive some comments and feedback. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all of you. Yeah, everybody is invited to ask questions. I have one question, because you say you want to present this in Germany, but so you have a double audience in a way. Your aim is to inform in Lviv, in this public space, to digitize and preserve materials from being forgotten or lost, but also here. I find it interesting because there's been there have been exhibitions about forced labor, and I remember an expert saying the typical forced labor in Germany is female, Ukrainian. So it is not, I don't know, are people reacting like that they know about this, or are they happy to have information on their local towns? Yes, yeah, in Germany.
Yeah, maybe I can speak about this because I'm a coordinator of all of those exhibitions. Yeah, so as I already said, people know, of course, local people, they know about forced labor, that all of those people that were present there, or Ukrainian people, a lot of them know that they were actually from Ukraine, but for them, for most of the people, it's basically the same as people from Russia. So, yeah. So this is our mission, especially because Ukraine now is facing this very much aggressive war against Russia. This is our task, basically, to say that, no, this is not the same, that this is a very much traumatic experience of Ukrainian people, and we want to share this, we want to talk about this, yeah, we want to discuss this, and we are not the same as Russian people. So, yeah, that is why, yeah, this is the aim of our organization, to speak about this, to speak with local people, to show them that, yeah, this is basically what Ukraine was faced during the Second World War.
Okay, thank you. Okay, since there are not yet any questions from the other participants, I have another question to you, because you told us that there's not so much material, or the Sinti and Roma victims have not given us so many traces, but what was shown in the film were personal memories. Are they from letters, or what did the children quoted in German? I mean, not everybody could
It's mostly letters. This is, but not just the normal letters which we send per post, but at Topovsky Shupe camp they could go to the fence and receive food, and maybe then give the message to family members. So these are like really small pieces of paper. You can see all this in the app, and with just a few words on it, like 2 sentences or so. So this is the Center for Public History, and Milovan Pisari. They're trying to preserve Topovsky Shupe, but they're also preserving this kind of archive, the little that there is left there. So Nikola worked in Belgrade with this kind of material. Masha Senicic, she's author and a poet. She also was a part of the team. So they worked with this like fragments, and that's why the archaeology of memory, like really fragments of also of this place, because there is a lot of it's a kind of a, maybe Nicola can say what the place is.
Or do inversion, that when we have some small, how to say, 2 questions, how are you at home, what do our children or whatever, to see with our young people what they will answer in that situation, you know, and some, how to say, video work, actually it's imagination of voices, and some are, how to say, very, yeah, archive, and yeah, we have some kind of photos, and we use that in some collage material and stuff like that. Actually, we do.
Yeah, also these collages were a connection between Berlin and Belgrade, so they used both the pictures, the archive pictures, the copies of the pictures from Berlin and Belgrade, and also in Berlin it was more performative, because the project partners, Peggy in Berlin and Susanne Krudina, she's a theater director, and so they did more performance and like really huge installations with a drone and in open space, because at Rastplatz Marzahn or Zwangslager Marzahn, at this location you cannot see, I mean, it's not like in Belgrade, total chaos, but you cannot really see that it was a camp. And there are no traces of it, so they try to map it through the app.
It's very interesting because with fragments and imagination, you make storytellers out of these young people, and yeah, it's also an approach to, if you have nothing, you have to invent it in a way, but it's not less true. So
yeah, but also a lot of personal experience of young people came into this. For example, one of the participants from Berlin, she's Kurdish, so the experience of migration, exile, also that she takes care of the younger children because both of the parents work, and also it is very much in our first round it was said, it's very much from the perspective of now and from the perspective of these young people.
Thank you. Now we have a guest.
Hi, my name is Jana Falkenroth. I work here for the Heinrich-Böll Foundation, and sorry, really great projects, all of you, but my question was also for you guys. As you are working directly with the young people, and we know that right parties have like also big following among young people, and I was wondering if you had any challenges or if you encountered that and how you dealt with that here and in Serbia.
Yeah, but what we actually said, we are not, how to say, film workshop or something like that. We actually didn't have this, how to say, relationship with our young people. Actually, we was team, and we was a researcher. What we, how to say, can see in space or in archive, and for example, this collage, what they did, this was how to say, first check to see someone pick up some historical person, you know, someone pick up just geographical space on a collage, someone pick up a private story of someone, you know, and we just, how to say, help these people to see if it is video work at the end or it is just a sound of or this. In this project, actually, we have 2 songs what they made.
They composed also music. But to your question about the right, I have to say that when we were presenting this project in Belgrade on the December 10th, the protests that are ongoing in Serbia were already on the way. And these people that you saw at the presentation, they took part in it, active part. I mean, until today. So this is they're very aware of the political situation. They had, of course, questions about, because we didn't have a Roma people at the school, but we invited a Roma activist, a young one. She's doing a lot of, Janet Koko, she's Instagram activist for Roma women and girls. So they did have this conversation about you know, the right-wing attacks on Roma and all this. So they were interviewing young people, our participants were interviewing her on their own terms, also with uncomfortable questions. So yeah, at our keynote first discussion, that was also addressed in a way, yeah.
Thank you. I had another question to Peggy, because it just came to my mind because of this mention of right-wing interests, let's say, because as far as I remember on the Dekoder website, there's also an introduction to the project saying that we need other narratives, or that we have to counter false or fake narratives, and young people have to be, or young people have to understand what really happened. Is this also an ambition of Dekoder to sort of teach the truth, or to prevent that people are believing the false stories or the false narratives? Is this political?
I suppose you're talking about the Dekoder site, not the historical project.
No, I thought in the introduction to this storytelling project that there was also sort of, why is it important? Why is it important to remember the World War II or something? Am I wrong?
Maybe because it's maybe it's written there. Yeah, but like the main task of Dekoder in general is to decipher what's going on, like with Russia, Belarus, what they are doing with the European and the world in general. So, and they are misusing, for example, extremely often these historical narratives about Second World War. We are talking about this all the day, right? And all the time, and for weeks already. And yes, of course, that's why we have to teach. I would not say that we are teaching. We are presenting, or we are giving the opportunity to get to know something more, but it's not teaching. Like, it's not, you have to think like that. That's why I like, for me and for us, it's really important to show all these complicated things too. Like, people, actually we will have a second season of the historical project and this year, and that will be about occupation. So all the spectra we were talking about in the morning, from resistance to collaboration, and even if there are people, experts saying that we should not talk about collaboration at all. And the system and the structure of occupation. And all these complexities, we all love this word, of course, we have to tell about them, because like the mainstream, like I'm from Eastern Germany especially, the very east, so Frankfurt on the River Oder. Like the mainstream, at least in our environment, the mainstream of German discourses do not understand what's occupation, what that means for society, and so on. Yeah, and that's valid, I think, for the history and for the current situation in the occupied territories by Russia, like the Ukrainian territories. Yeah.
Thank you.
Did I answer you?
Yes, very, very valuable answer. Thank you very much. Evia.
Thank you. Evia Hovanesyan, HBS Yerevan. My question would be to After Silence project authors. You told that you have been working quite a lot with the oral history methodology. Since I've also been working with this methodology quite a lot in the social anthropology field, especially after, in the war context, it's quite sensitive to archive all these materials. Could you please share maybe your experience of archiving these materials, and especially with very sensitive topics? What challenges did you face during your work with the? I assume that your work was also with the sensitive war materials, not only post-World War II, but also sorry, not yet. Yeah.
Okay, I start. Like the main challenge for us is we don't ask about current war in our eyewitnesses, because like we want to know that they share their stories about Second World War, but they share these stories because like they kids, they grandkids, they in Ukrainian army or evacuated, and of course they know about news, and of course someone lives near front line, and this sensitive information for us is really important, and we don't ask, but of course it's like present in our interview. That's why all our interviews, for security reasons, only in like our archives now. We like don't share in like public. We like have some like list of interviews, but don't share with other researchers. Like maybe like share when we know like the topic of research and know these researchers, because we understand that this information can use some like organization, like because like it's names, it's regions, and like it's like important information for security of our tellers. Maybe you add.
Yeah, I think, yeah, because as already was mentioned in our introduction, I'm writing a dissertation on oral history materials. So I'm very much engaged in all of our interviews. And of course, first of all, as Anna already said many times, that we really can see from these materials this overlapping of memory when we have memory of the Second World War, but it's very much overlapping with the current war. And as Anna already said, in a lot of interview materials, really we can read all of this very sensitive private information that probably, yeah, people are not willing to make public. Let's say they're just sharing it with us because they trust us as researchers. They trust they trust the confidentiality and so on and so on that we have during our small interview recordings. Yeah, that is why, for example, we are very active on Facebook, on Instagram. Like we are very open and public, but we are not almost never share like texts, like direct texts of the interviews. We can share like quotes, for example, on our social media. We can share, if they agree, we can share pictures of our interviewees and so on and so on. But yeah, we are taking this very seriously, of course, because yeah, the materials can be very much sensitive. And yeah, about these technical questions, we store all of our materials on our online archives. So yeah, in archives of our organization. So that is why they very much protected, let's say, from any kind of invasions and so on. So yeah, but of course the war brings new challenges in question of, yeah, like simply like lack of electricity or something, because yeah, of course this is the reality of the war, but yeah, we are doing as much as we can.
Okay, thank you. If there's no other, I would allow another question, because we started a bit later, but I saw that things are falling down already. I myself let things fall down, and others too, so maybe we're a bit tired. So maybe I thank you all for these very interesting and very fascinating projects, and I think we learned a lot, and we have many sites to visit and many texts to read now, and many ideas whom we could, I don't know, support, for instance, because there's always a link where we can support NGOs, so we can do that. Yeah, before we part now, I would ask my colleague, my technician, maybe to help us find our way for tomorrow, because now I profit from your attention, and tomorrow morning we will meet here at 10 and part into 3 workshops. Maybe the workshop moderators can once again show their friendly faces if they're here. Is it wrong? Oh, yeah, that's a wrong name. Okay, then that doesn't help, but these are the 3 workshops. But I think the first 2 that are correct. So Tama Keboria will be this is the moderator for the first workshop. Evia, we know her already, will chair the second workshop, and monuments, I'm wrong. Yeah, it's Katarina. Sorry for this mistake. It's Katarina Kwasniewska from our Kiev office. So you will find your way tomorrow morning, and now we have dinner. I have to apologize for the small lunch. The fact is that we had good reasons to order for 70 people, but we were about 90 persons, and it was very empty at the end. So I hope for your solidarity now, but I don't see 90 people anymore as well. So, so good appetite, and see you at our evening program at about 7. Seid ihr denn eigentlich?